New Gear Day. One of the few pure joys in life. Just kidding, that's a little melodramatic. But it is New Gear Day, and I am very excited. I was not expecting this item to get here as quickly as it did, but now that it is, let's open it up, check it out. Yes! Alright, got the box open. One-handed. Awesome. Alright, so many of you probably know exactly what you're looking at. This is the 2 Notes Torpedo Captor 16. It is a reactive load box, attenuator, speaker sim, and amp DI. That means a whole bunch of things, but in essence, this will allow me to record very loud, very powerful amps silently. And we're going to go through all of those connections. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure I'm going to do all of it right. It's going to take some trial and error on my end. But once I do have it right, I will share with you guys. And then I'm thinking about doing a little bit of a test. I want to compare the recordings from this 2 Notes Torpedo Captor 16 with a mic'd up setting and then with an amp sim setting purely. So we will go through all of those particular setups. We'll go through those sound demos. But first, I have to get this thing out of the box and I have to figure out exactly how it's going to connect to my setup. Back with you soon. Yes, sir. All right, so after a little bit of research, reading, and a little bit of trial and error, I've figured out that one of my favorite features about this piece of hardware is its versatility and simplicity. For my purposes, we're actually doing a very simple hookup. From the speaker out on my amp head, we're connected to the back of the load box. We're running from the front of the load box using an XLR cable directly to my Focusrite 2i2, which is running directly into Reaper. It should be noted that the Focusrite is powering via phantom power the 2 Notes. So it's actually running the 48V connection to power the 2 Notes. So the way we're actually using this is as a reactive load box. So it's taking the load from the amp in place of the speaker cabinet, and then we're feeding that directly into the interface, which is then running right into my computer, which is running Reaper for the DAW. So that's actually simpler than it sounds, but that explains the reactive load box. It turns out if you were to connect this between your amp head and your speaker cabinet, you would be running this as an attenuator. The attenuation portion meaning that you can actually turn down the decibels that's running from your amp head to your cab. So you could crank your amp head, get those tones that you're so after, and then have it running directly to your cab without blowing out all of your windows. Nice bonus, or deafening animals or small children. There is a speaker sim built into the 2 Notes, which I opted not to use. The speaker sim is activated just by switching that little switch right there that has the bass off and GTR options. If you were to switch it to the left, it would run the guitar option, and that would activate the built-in speaker sim. I wasn't a big fan of it, so I chose to leave it off. I did not use it. As far as the overall, line power level out, I chose to keep it under 5 for this setup just because I noticed that it was pushing my interface a little bit hard and I was getting some clipping in there. I think that's just because this is an old model of the Focusrite. I definitely need to upgrade this, but, it served the purposes for this video. To give the 2 Notes Torpedo Captor its test run, I wanted to keep the signal chain simple. If something went wrong, I didn't want to have to do a ton of troubleshooting. With that in mind, we're using my Orange Super Crush on the clean channel, and in the front of the amp, we're running my Nux Recto distortion pedal and an MXR compressor pedal. Nice and simple. Let's check it out. For the mic setup, we're keeping the amp and the pedals the same, except instead of running through the Torpedo Captor, we're running into a 2x12 cabinet with Celestion V30 speakers, and then I'm mic'd up with a Shure SM57 and a Lewitt MTP 440DM. For the amp plugin setup, I wasn't really sure what I wanted to go with. In the past, I haven't had the best luck with amp sims. Started off using the Bias FX2 plugin, and results have always been kind of meh for me. For this one though, I wanted to try the Nutcracker plugin. I've seen it demoed a few times and it sounds awesome. For my experience, I noticed some bad crackle, and I'm not really sure if that's due to my interface. Maybe I had a bad cable, or maybe it was just the settings I was using within the plugin that weren't that great. But overall, I thought it was pretty cool. Here are the settings for the Nutcracker plugin in Reaper. I am using one of the presets within the plugin. I'm using the compressor pedal with just a little bit adjusted. For the speakers, I am using the number 5 preset here. I didn't really select anything as far as the shape EQ or the mastering EQ, and I didn't do anything as far as effects like with delay or reverb. I pretty much kept it nice and simple. I just wanted to see how it sounded. And that's it. Between the 3 setups, I actually really prefer the Torpedo Captor. That thing has become my new best friend. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of amp sims, and this time it came out okay, not great. As far as the mic setup goes, I don't mind a mic setup, but it does take time and effort to set up. So if I have the opportunity to go through the 2 notes without having to set up mics, fantastic. I'm going to choose it every time. If you guys are still watching, thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, find a smile, and I'll see you for the next one. Later.